Hi, I'm Emily. We are here this week at the Rockhampton show for the Army Reserves Q&A. If you have any questions, make sure you get them through to us. We will be here for the next hour to answer any questions that you have on the Army Reserves. In the meantime, I have three reservists with me here today. Why don't we start with some introductions, guys? Tell us who you are, what you do, and how long you've been in the Reserves.
Yep, so I'm Misty Evans. I joined Reserves in 1998. So quite a while now, and I'm a training officer, so officer cadet currently.
Okay.
I'm Hayden McFall. I signed up 2 years ago, and I'm an Infantry Reservist soldier.
Hi, I'm Alison Waller. I've been in for 20 years and I'm a driver.
Fantastic. And where are we?
Yeah, so we're in Rockhampton at the Rocky Show. Yeah.
Okay, and what are the reservists doing here at the show today?
Yeah, so we're having a presence in the community, recruiting actually, recruiting some soldiers, and also it's in the lead up to Hamill. So basically there's a number of soldiers here at Rockhampton ready to go out to Shoalwater Bay to train in a big lead up exercise. Yeah.
And you have quite a big presence in Rockhampton generally, even without Exercise Hamill, is that correct?
Yep, so the Army Reserve parades here frequently, and they actually have a big presence just down at the Barracks. So they run here all year round, and their presence is always there. Yep.
So it's great to be able to get out at a show like this and really show the community some support and I guess educate them on what you do and the kind of toys you get to play with. There's some pretty fun stuff here, isn't there?
Yeah. There's lots of equipment that we have today at the show, including like all your weapons, some of the new vehicles that we have in the Defence Force, and some of the old vehicles as well.
They're still pretty impressive.
Yeah, they are very impressive.
So anyone at the show can pop over to the Army Reserve tent and have a chat to you guys about potential careers, as well as just having a bit of a talk about what you guys get up to in the area. Is that right?
Absolutely. So basically come down, have a yarn, and we're all happy to have a talk to you about if you want to join. So.
Fantastic. And so you mentioned Exercise Hamill in the beginning. So what is Exercise Hamill?
Yeah, so Exercise Hamill is it's a exercise that basically reserves and full-time members get to join together and train together in the training environment at Shoalwater Bay. It's sort of certification of all our roles, and basically it's to see where we're at. So to sort of have a measurement on where we're at as a Defence Force.
So how prepared you are.
How prepared we are.
Yep. You come from all over the country, don't you?
Yeah, we do. And it definitely helps as a reservist to integrate with your full-time counterparts. So being an infantry reservist, it's good to get out there on Exercise Hamill and actually work with full-time soldiers from 6RAR.
So it is important for the Army and particularly reservists to get behind exercises like this?
Yes, definitely. Like they do travel from far away. Like we have Darwin, they travel down, Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne. They all congregate in Rockhampton staging area, and then they travel out to Shoalwater Bay to do the exercise.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
And so obviously you're all reservists. So can you tell us a little bit about your job roles specifically within the reserves and what made you elect a reserve role over a full-time role?
Yeah, okay. So basically it's a work-life balance that you can get from the reserve role. From when I joined, I was also doing uni. So I did my degree, my psych degree. And at the same time too was able to work as a reserve soldier, and at one point there I did some full-time service as well, and that was attached to other units, so there's always different opportunities, and then that led up to becoming doing the officer training, and so therefore it's still at the same time too with my civvy work that I have in child safety. And then also I've got 3 kids, so just that the balance that you can get from being a reserve soldier and the skills that you can take into your work life as well is just excellent.
Yeah, wonderful.
Initially I applied full-time to go as a medic. This process was taking a fair bit
little
of time.
while.
Yeah. So I decided to transfer over to go as an infantry reservist, and this was a very quick process for me, and it took less than 3 months to actually get in and do the training into the role. And now I'm able to juggle reserves with studying to be a paramedic.
A paramedic?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So that's very different from
Yeah.
what you do in the army.
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic. What about you, Alison?
Yes, I originally signed up as a reservist when I was in Year 12, so still studying, and as a stepping stone to go to full-time. But I really enjoyed the work-life balance of a reservist, so I'm stayed a reservist, and I've had a couple of kids, so it's really easy to be a mother in the reserves, and I still raise a family, and I'm also studying full-time. I've picked that up as well. And then also juggling work on top of that. So it's really easy. They all go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're all juggling quite a few things at once.
Yes.
That's wonderful. Make sure you are getting your questions through, guys. As I said, this is a Q&A. These guys are here to answer any questions that you have. Now, the 3 roles that I have with me today are priority roles at the moment. So they are jobs that we have available right now. One of those is Infantry Soldier. Now, I spent some time here at the show yesterday with Jason, and we had a chat about that Infantry Soldier role and got a little bit more info about that job in the reserves. I'm here with Jason. Jason, can you tell me what you do in the Army?
I'm an infantry reservist in the Army.
And why did you choose the role of Infantry Soldier?
The reason I chose the role of infantry, I've always been interested in it. My dad was an infantry reservist, my granddad was also infantry full-time. Being able to go away, play around as a soldier with weapons and just go camping out bush so often sound pretty cool.
Absolutely. And what was it about the reserve role particularly that drew your attention?
Reserve role particularly, like for starters, I wasn't sure if I wanted to go full-time, so just being able to try it out as a reservist where you don't have to commit full-time was interesting to me, and you get to go away every so often, so not all the time, but you get to still have your civilian life. That's what interested me.
So how does your job as an infantry soldier differ to your day-to-day life?
Well, differs a lot. Like being able to go out bush and go camping, basically with your mates, but you just play soldier while you're doing it. Patrolling around and using weapons all the time. It's really different and exciting.
Awesome. And how do you balance training and exercises with your day-to-day life?
Well, I balance it pretty easy because I don't have a full-time job at the moment. But like I know lots of mates in it that have a university and do full-time work, so they can still balance it pretty well because they're always out there with me.
Just means you get the opportunity to volunteer for some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Like I volunteer for being able to go out on exercises and that. Deployments, like I went on a recent deployment down in Brisbane and the Gold Coast where we, with the Commonwealth Games, provided security. That was really good. And like next month we're going away on deployment around Australia, Transit Security Element 90. And yeah, that'll be really good. 5 months away after Navy.
5 months?
Yeah, long time, but big exciting experience.
Wonderful. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
So there's some info on the infantry soldier role in the reserves. Now, I've had quite a few questions come through about various jobs within the reserves. Now, obviously, the 3 roles we have with us today are priority jobs. So if you are interested in any of these, you can jump onto Defence Jobs and make an application. For any kind of roles, you can also jump onto Defence Jobs. Have a look at the Army Reserve Unit Locator. It will let you know your local area and what jobs are available in that area. All right, so we've had a few questions come through. Dennis has asked, are there any age limits for reservists?
Yes.
Yes.
So the minimum age is 17 with obviously a parental guard and signature. And then most jobs have a cutoff of 55. Yep. But some of them do go from 56 and 57. So
it does vary a little.
It does vary a little bit.
That's another one that I think if we jump onto the Defence Jobs website, the info for the various jobs will be on there for that one.
Yes.
Fantastic. Now, Dennis has also asked, how many hours or days can you serve as a reserve?
So there's minimum 20 days a year, up to 100 days, and obviously that is dependent on what's available. But in saying that, there's a lot of times when you will definitely have opportunity to do those days, and also as far as that goes, sometimes there's the opportunity of full-time service as well. So just to,
So you don't only have to do reserves.
You don't just have to do reserves. You can sign up for that as well. So yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. We've got a couple of projects coming up soon, don't we? Hayden, you are going full-time shortly, is that correct?
So I'm going on to CFTS, which is Continuous Full-Time Service.
Okay.
And I'm doing that with TSE. So TSE is a Transit Security Element, which is border protection with the Navy, and that goes for approximately 6 months. And I'm doing that for the second half of this year.
So, I mean, people might not realise that as a reservist, you can do full-time service.
Yep.
But as a minimum 20 days.
As a minimum 20 days, and look, it goes hand in hand with your civvy job and even university studies and that sort of thing as well. So a lot of the time you can balance it. It's very flexible, and not only that, with your family too. So it's a lot of the time, if you do your 20 days a year, year in, year out, that's sort of minimum what you have to do.
Set up.
Yeah.
All right, there is a question here. Can you enlist as a reservist initially and then transfer to full-time?
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can?
Yeah, obviously that's an opportunity just to get a taste of what reserve or army is like.
Yep.
Like obviously Alison, she did that, but then like the reserve,
So stuck with it.
And then in saying that, you can transfer over to full-time. And obviously we're all trained at the same level. So as far as whatever courses reserves do, that does carry across to your full-time training as well. So.
Okay, wonderful. There is a question here. Is it difficult to balance uni life and army life?
Well, for myself personally, I find that it's not really too difficult.
Mm-hmm.
They both go hand in hand with being flexible with each other. Definitely reserves, obviously you have your 20 to 100 days, whatever you can commit during that time. Some years you might, studies might be a lot cruisier, and you're able to commit more time to reserve, say up to 80 or more days. But during study times, if you can't put in time to actually go to reserves, then they're very understanding of that, and you're able to commit to your studies as well.
And so you are about to deploy for 5 months. How does uni, are they flexible with that?
Yeah, so they're flexible with that, and they're able to defer study till next year, and also able to carry on, obviously, your RPL, so your recognised prior learning. Yeah.
Oh, cool. And Alison, you're studying too.
Yes. So I had to defer the beginning of this year as I was away with the Commonwealth Games contingent. So
Okay, how was that?
that was awesome. So much fun.
But uni, you're able to balance that with going away?
Yeah, definitely. The lecturers were very understanding. I was very upfront, and they knew.
And it's all a choice, isn't it? So I suppose you don't. It's like it's a matter of what you personally choose to do, and then you can go with that from there. So I think I know that I deferred my study at one point, but then came back and finished it afterwards. So I think it's always very flexible.
Okay, great. Jason has asked about fitness tests. So do they differ with reserves as opposed to full-time?
No, it's still the same level as full-time. We just need to qualify once a year, where full-time have to do it every 6 months.
Yeah. And then I suppose
Sure.
with the officer training, we do it every training block that we do.
Okay.
So not just the once a year, but every time we go away and train on the training blocks, we have to pass a fitness test.
And how often are the training blocks?
Just dependent, but obviously they, within an 18-month period, sometimes they like you to get them done. Mm-hmm. However, I've taken quite a few years. In that time, I've had a baby as well. So
Yeah, cool.
yeah. But in saying that, stayed fit the whole time. Always passed my tests. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. I have a question. Do you recruit in admin, basically in finance and accounting? Alison, you can speak to that, can't you?
Yes, I did originally enlist as a clerk, and then I did transfer to become a pay clerk. But over the years, they've actually combined the two now. So your pay clerk and clerk fall under the same banner.
Okay.
Yeah. So the ECN's got joined, and you get trained in everything. So admin as well as the pay side of things. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Now, we are receiving plenty of your questions, but make sure you're sending them through. I have another question here from Luke. In the reserves, what do you do on a day-to-day basis? So I guess basic commitments, Tuesday nights. Can we speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously it'd be different for all of us, but on a Tuesday night when I go in, I am sort of focusing on my training blocks and what's required in my next assessments on the training blocks. So obviously my next one's TB5, and so I'm focused on my platoon command lead sort of training. So I'll do a lot of tutes and a lot of focus on basically what's required to be a platoon commander.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
For me, Tuesday nights involves a lot of infantry minor tactics. Usually you'll have 1 to 2 lessons involving that, and then you'll also go conduct PT, whether this be battle PT or a circuit, whatever's designated for that night. Yeah.
And how many hours a night is that?
That's 3 hours. On
3 hours a Tuesday night?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Being a driver, we go in and we basically first parade the vehicle, so we make sure that they're running correctly. If there is need of any mechanical things, like stuff that we're trained to do, we can fulfill that. And then if there's any driving task, we'll go and do that of a night time. Yeah, so.
And are the Tuesday nights the only commitment you have as the reserves?
No, so it's minimum 2 weeks a year, 2 week like exercise as well. With reserves, so that's part of your 20 days that you do. So in saying that, obviously with regards to my training, I do cover that in a training block because a lot of them are sort of 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
But in saying that, these guys might be different already in their role. So you guys, it's 2 weeks pretty much, isn't it? Minimum.
2 weeks minimum,
On top of your Tuesday nights, and then a weekend a month.
Yeah. So usually a weekend a month.
Yep.
And what do you do on those weekends? Do you go out or do you stay at the reserve base?
So usually you're going out to the most times for me I go out to the range, and you're actually conducting mandatory range shoots, also other range shoots that you need to qualify in. Just for myself doing infantry, you have a lot of a range that you can do, all the way from your 84s, your rocket launchers, your Mag 58s, so your support machine guns, as well as all your normal equipment, so your F88s and your F89s.
So I would hazard a guess you don't mind going out on those exercises?
No, I enjoy them.
Yeah, absolutely. And is it the same kind of stuff for you, Alison, as a driver?
Yes. A lot of the times we support the infantry guys when they go out to Shellwater Bay, especially in Rockhampton here, which is our main job role, basically, is to support the infantry. And we go out there, either take the troops around in the back of our mogs, take stores out, all that sort of thing, and then we can, if we're not too busy, and if they need to, we can play enemy.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
I have a question here from Jack. He has asked a very important question. As a reservist, can men grow their hair?
So, as per like your standing orders, so your written orders, it's delegated what you have to have. So, obviously, short on the sides. You've got to be clean shaven every day. So you've got to have basically.
The answer is
short
no,
hair.
unfortunately. Sorry, Jack.
That standard, even in reserves, just like your full-time counterparts. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Blake asked, what benefits do you get from being a reservist?
Lots of benefits.
Lots.
So with the training, there's a lot of, or particularly with the officer training, there's leadership skills, your ability to communicate, and I think the problem-solving, quick decision sort of things that I take from my reserve training as an officer into my workplace and just into day-to-day life as well. And I think a lot of, when it comes down to it, a lot of the time it makes life easy to actually be a member of the reserves and actually do the defence training, because day-to-day things aren't so bad.
You have them a lot better.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're lifestyle benefits.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get a whole lot of other stuff as well, don't you?
Yeah, and appreciation. I think you get an appreciation, particularly when you've been outfield for a fair whack and you're sort of on the ground and with a sleeping bag, and then you come back to your bed and you're just like, oh, it's worth everything. So
Definitely builds up your confidence, whether that be in your work environment or just in general. And also builds up your professionalism and your work ethic. So that helps, and definitely your employers will see that. They'll see the difference in you and your contribution.
I mean, there's a range of other benefits also, including monetary benefits and healthcare as well.
Yeah, so I suppose the fact that you actually get paid to train is huge, and also then with your civilian job and then defence, getting both incomes, sometimes with your defence leave, just depending, I suppose, on what happens in your workplace. But I know with myself, that side of things is a bonus. It's an extra bonus.
Absolutely.
So, and then the healthcare, with regards to when you are on X as a reserve soldier, so your dentistry and medical is all covered, particularly if you get injured. So they're really good things that come from being a reserve soldier as well. Yeah.
And definitely, everything in reserves is voluntary. So even though you volunteer your time, you're always going to get paid for your time, and you're never going to do something that you're actually not getting paid for. And that,
So no, it is really good.
Fantastic. Hayley has asked, in all honesty, how terrifying is Kapooka really?
It's crazy. It makes you a stronger person. So it really puts you out of your comfort zone. And I think we all get so used to being in our comfort zone, but as far as to make you stronger as a person, to give you that confidence, it really grounds you. And from when you first get there and you literally lose all your civvy stuff and you get given all the uniform and everything like that, it does, it's a bit scary, but at the same time too, you're not going to die. It takes every day you build on your strengths, so that's what you just keep going, get through it. And I think I got told once, you just keep cutting away the days. So basically there's only so many days you're going to be there for, and at the end you look back and you're just like, that was awesome. Yeah, so it is good.
It never breaks you, it makes you.
Yeah.
Especially, I think all three of you enlisted straight out of school, is that right?
Yeah.
So I guess in terms of life experience, you didn't have much in the tank, so training would give you a whole lot of that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I don't know about you, but Alison was we were all 17.
Yeah, 17,
so it was a big thing going straight from school, and I went straight there to Kapooka, and then I had my 18th birthday, and then Christmas and New Year's as well. So that was sort of a wake-up call in itself, in that you get used to celebrating things like that, and then all of a sudden you don't. But I think it was such a good base for starting off with life, and just knowing from there anything, sort of the world's your oyster. So it gives you that sort of understanding.
Awesome. Tariq asked, is it hard to get chosen for an overseas deployment? Is it merit-based or length of service-based?
Ooh.
Or volunteer-based?
It is merit-based, I would put it down to mainly. There's just certain things that you need to do, so you're going to get picked over somebody that doesn't show up, or merit-based, I'm talking putting in the time for the year, going on certain training exercises, that sort of thing. You're going to get picked over somebody that just shows up on a Tuesday night and puts no extra commitment in. So, definitely merit-based over length of time.
There's a lot of lead-up training.
There is.
Yeah, so when it comes to getting picked, a lot of the times you have to complete certain things to get to that point where you're ready to go.
Okay.
So I think, what was the one you did? Hawaii? Yeah.
Hawaii?
Hawaii, Yep. So definitely had to put in the time and commitment to secure my spot to get over to Hawaii. Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah,
Can you
yeah.
tell us a little about it?
Oh, yes. It's a 2-week basically exchange program. So the National Guard, they'll send like a section worth of people over to Australia, and then we'll send a section worth over to Hawaii just to learn how they do things. So we train with them, and it was a pretty good gig, Hawaii. So we trained for about 10 days out of the 2 weeks, and then we got a couple of days off. But it was brilliant where they had to come here to Australia and train.
It's not that bad here.
No. They had to go to Shelwood Bay.
A little better.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Obviously, they think Australia is probably just as good as we think Hawaii is. So yeah.
Sambul asked, "Are you able to live on base as a reservist?"
No.
No.
You definitely can't live on base. Yeah.
I suppose that if you're doing full-time service, then and you're attached to other units that have that, then there is that option sometimes.
Okay.
But in saying that, as a reserve soldier, and basically you've got your civilian life as well, so therefore, you're living at home.
In saying that as well, when you go away for your courses, so your 2-week courses or even for weekends, there'll never be a opportunity where you have to pay for your own accommodation or you have to book your own accommodation or flights. So the Army will always provide that, and they'll also provide you with meals or meal allowances so you can look after yourself. So yeah.
Sounds awesome. Basit asked, "How long does it take to join the Army?"
Yeah, so I suppose that can it takes a little bit of time. So the process, there is a number of steps in the process. So in my particular instance, I think it was about 12 months from when I first called up and going through the motions of like the U session and then all your testing until I actually went to Kapooka. But then obviously it was different when I joined when I came back for the officer training because there is things like a selection board which was above.
You have an extra
couple of steps for this time round. So
I think there's a number of factors with that as well. All of our 3 roles are priority jobs, so if you're going to go for this job, it's going to, of course, get you in a lot quicker than, say, if you have to go for another role where the wait can be longer and then it's just more competitive as well. Yeah.
It is a very competitive process as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Alrighty. Sean has asked, "How do you keep up with the training?"
Just take a bit at a time. I think, like particularly if it's so with what I'm doing with the officer training, there's the training blocks. So each training block has sort of stepping stone towards the platoon command training block. So you just focus on the goals of that training block for myself. But in saying that, with the role of like soldiers and that sort of thing, just knowing what you've got on your parade card and what you can attend, and then so putting that in your calendar for your year. So pretty much each year I just plan out my year. So I don't know, what do you guys do?
You've got to be really self-motivated in the reserves.
Yep.
So a lot of the times that you might need to put in outside of your normal designated training, especially if you've got a course coming up. Like our courses run for about 2 weeks, so 16 days. So there could be some pre-course admin that you need to go in and complete, and like that's all you can claim your time for that. So it is paid, but definitely a lot of self-motivation goes into it as well.
I agree with that. You've got to be very self-motivated. And I find for me it's a bit different. I find instead of taking small bits at a time, just get full bottle and just do everything you can at every opportunity, and it'll just develop you like so much faster than if you were to take it bits at a time. But everyone's different and they've got their own lifestyle that they have to work around. So yeah.
Absolutely. Now, Basit asked, "Do I have to know how to drive in the reserves?" Now, you don't, do you?
No, you don't. No, you don't. Just as long as you don't have a cancelled licence or been disqualified, you don't need a licence at all.
Now,
So-
we got to have a chat about this yesterday,
Yes, we did.
Alison, didn't we? Driver is, of course, a priority role at the moment. So we did spend some time yesterday with Alison at one of her favourite vehicles, discussing a little bit more in depth the role of driver in the reserves. So I'm here with Alison. Alison, tell me, what do you do in the Army?
I'm a driver with the Army Reserves.
And what made you choose driver?
It wasn't my first choice. I originally enlisted to become a clerk and then changed over to do pay, and then that got centralised up in Townsville, so I ended up becoming a driver.
Okay. And so prior to enlisting, had you had any kind of experience driving a heavy vehicle?
Certainly not. Certainly not. The most experience I'd had was driving my sedan around.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. But the Army does give you those skills and experiences, don't they?
Oh, certainly do, certainly do. So we get to go on a course. So each vehicle, you have a 2-week long course. You go out, they train you. So you start from driving around base, get signed off on that. Then you drive around bush and get signed off that. Come back and then you actually get to go out and drive the civilian streets.
Look out.
And so on. Yeah, definitely.
And the skills and certificates that you gain within the Army, are they transferable to the civilian world?
Oh, certainly. So once you hold your licence for a year, you can get it changed over to your civilian licence as well, yeah.
And so how important is being a driver on exercise?
Very, very important. So we get to carry troops around the back. We get to bring stores out. We get to do explosive ordnance.
Okay.
Yeah, all the fun stuff.
Absolutely. What is your favourite aspect of being a driver?
Going out bush.
Yeah?
Going out bush. Getting this thing really dirty.
Okay.
I love it, yeah.
And one final question, and I think I know the answer. What is your favourite vehicle?
It's the Unimog.
Which is where we are now?
Certainly are.
Okay.
Yep.
And why is that?
When I did my Unimog course, we got taken out bush, got shown this big hill, and they're going, "You're driving up that." And we're just going, "Yeah, we're not going to make it." And they go, "Yeah, you're going to drive up that with this loaded, so you're going to have a G-Wagon on the back, driving straight up there without stopping, and you're going to make it."
And how'd you go?
Yeah, we did it. Yeah, it was so much fun. You just stick it in 4-wheel drive and it can go anywhere and do anything.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Alison. Thank you for getting your questions through. We've had quite a few come through. We will be here for the next 10 to 15 minutes or so if you have any more questions, feel free to keep sending them through. We'll dive straight back into them. Now, Jack asked, what transferable skills do your jobs in particular have in civilian employment?
So from civilian employment to my reserve role, as far as with regards to, I'm a child safety officer, so when I work in families, and sometimes the situations are sticky, so there's a lot of quick decisions that need to be made, a lot of problem solving, and just keeping some common sense that basically I get a lot from being in the reserve world, and I do take that to my civilian employment. So those skills and the confidence to do that, so the confidence to carry out my roles in my civilian employment, how I've gained that from my reserve training, definitely.
And your job role involves a lot of sort of scheduling and monitoring various parties, doesn't it? So that complements quite well.
So both of them, yeah. So in saying that, in my civilian role, it's pretty much on myself to actually schedule my weeks and ensure that I achieve goals in that job. So, and definitely I've grabbed a lot of that exposure in the reserve training that I've done. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I find with infantry as a reservist, what it's definitely helped with is your work ethic and your professionalism. So just going from day-to-day work to your reserve lifestyle, you're able to pick up a lot better work ethic just from doing in the army environment, because unlike in the outside in Civvy Street, that over time you expect more from that, and that you don't expect that you have to work so much overtime, whereas in army time you could be working up to 18-hour days, longer. So you've just got to commit to that. And yeah, what you could have found hard isn't as hard anymore. So yeah.
No, you definitely have the capability skills, don't
Yeah.
you?
Definitely the confidence in just being able to do whatever may come your way. So new tasks that are proposed upon you, that you're just able to think quickly and use common sense to actually get those tasks done.
And Alison, I mean, like we just discussed in your cutaway, all of the licenses that you gain as a driver, you do get transferred to civilian life.
Yeah, certainly do. But also being a soldier at first, definitely being organised. Being in since I was 17, so I'm very organised, and I take that out like with my children.
Yeah,
have to be
definitely.
organised with them, get them to school, and then I'm off to uni, and then going
then to
home,
work.
and training people on top of that, then going home, picking them up from school, and getting all the dinners prepared, all that sort of stuff. You've got to be organised. Yeah,
Absolutely. Now, Madeline asked, is it hard balancing relationships, work, study and the reserves?
Yeah, it is. But I think you've got to look at what needs priority at different times. And obviously, like being in a relationship, you've got to be able to know when that needs attention as well. So, and I think the whole thing is that a lot of the time that does come first in reserve world.
Yep.
And then from there you can choose to do what's needed with your training and that sort of thing. But in saying that, it's great if you've got people supporting you, because that makes everything so much easier. Yeah. So having that strength around you.
Ensuring that you have a schedule or timetable is definitely very important. And if you can plan out through the year what you can commit to reserves, and obviously what you have to commit to your study, and of course your family life is very important, because you can't really have one without the other. They all got to work together. Otherwise, one's going to clash, and it'll just fall apart for you. So
Yeah, definitely planning is a big part of trying to organise your life. So and sometimes sometimes army's more important at one stage, where you've got to go away and you have to do a course. So things do take a back seat in relationships, but then as soon as that course is over, you can go back and make your life a priority.
Yeah.
So definitely things come and go. You just got to go with the flow, and your relationship, they should be like with you 100%. They should be supporting you, so they should know it's only going to be for a certain amount of time, and then things go back to normal.
Yeah.
And I think it makes it stronger too. So sometimes even with your kids and your partner and going away, it does make it stronger. And particularly with kids, I've seen my kids go from being so used to me being around to actually like making their lunches and doing things that mum always has done for them. And when I'm not there, someone's got to do it. So which is really good. Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, Sam has asked, what's it like for Lgbti servicemen and women?
Well, as soon as you put on your uniform, you're like everybody else.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not a big factor. So as soon as you're in the uniform, you're just a soldier. So it really doesn't come into effect. No, it's not an issue. No. Definitely not.
Fantastic. Now, Suzanne asked about parade locations for different roles and how to find them. Now, as we did mention earlier, if you jump onto the Defence Jobs website, there is an Army Reserve unit locator tool. You can just type in your postcode. It will let you know your closest unit and what jobs are available in that local area. Now, Kevin asked, he has finished year 11 and left school, so can he apply now? Absolutely. Just have a look at the requirements on the website once again. So Defence Jobs will have your information when it comes to education and educational requirements for particular roles. Now, Shani asked, how flexible is reserves when it comes to having a partner who is already serving?
Oh, yes, I
You
can
can
answer
speak
that
to that?
one. Yeah, yes. My husband's in the Army Reserves as well, and everything's flexible. Like my husband's away at the moment, been away in England for 3 weeks, and Army knows that I've got children that need to go to school, so they're quite flexible with me coming in during the daytime, so during school hours, to get my 3 hours for a Tuesday night, so I'm not getting babysitters or, you know, bringing them in with me. Yeah, so it's very flexible, and just as long as you're upfront about your relationship with that person, especially if he's a different rank than you are.
Sure.
Yeah, nothing's a problem. Yeah.
Fantastic. Madeline asked, can we choose when we go to Kapooka?
I think that depends on when courses are running.
Yes.
So obviously it's availability to where you're at along the whole process.
Yeah.
But I think it's a certain period of time. I think it's within 12 months of
Correct,
being enlisted.
but it
Yeah.
is flexible, so you can
Yeah.
definitely choose an appropriate time within work or study. It's not full-time, you enlist, you go immediately. Part-time, you can enlist and then go away, come up with a time to go away and do your time at Kapooka and then organise it that way. And it is a shorter time period than full-time, is that correct?
So it's for 35 days, which is a small time to their counterpart. So it's 5 weeks as opposed to 12 weeks. But that is still covering that same basis that full-time is covered. It's just
Same content?
Yeah, same content, but it's just a lot more compact. Yeah.
So they're not chopping anything out of there.
No. You just got shorter amount of time, so you just don't have as much time to practice. Like if you've got a weapons lesson, they might cover it for 3 days, where in Army Reserves you've got a day and a half to learn it. Same thing. They do teach you everything that you need to know, and if you don't get it straight away, there is time. Like you can retest. So if you don't get it the first time, but other than that, it is the same content.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Naris asked, how long should I serve as a soldier until I transfer to be an officer?
So you can actually go straight in as an officer through the selection process and do your officer selection board. And if you're selected from there, you can go in and into the continuum. But in saying that, like I found it really good that I did have some basis of the soldier's skills and some time in a soldier's role prior to going across and doing the officer selection. So, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. So how long, Kira has asked, how long after the PFA do we go to basic training? So I guess that's a question about fitness and maintaining it.
So obviously your PFA is your pre-fitness assessment. So you'd be doing that before you're actually enlisted, so before you go to Kapooka, and then you're going to do it again at Kapooka. But then by the time you're at Kapooka, they should be running you through the BFA, and then that will become the standard of what you need to run through after that.
Fantastic. Dave asked, what roles do you find to be the most fascinating? I guess the ones you're in.
Yeah. So I suppose, like,
is there a particular aspect of your role?
So I don't know. I've done a couple of corps, and I suppose the one I'm in now, like the officer training, I find really, really good, and that's infantry-based training, and it's sort of given me an understanding of how things all work. Whereas prior, I was like a cook, and then I did clerical, and then recruiting. So I really enjoyed the one I'm in now.
You've done quite a few.
Yeah. So, but in saying that, like Alison's, you've done
a couple as
Yeah,
well.
I've done a couple as well. Yep. Definitely love the one I'm in now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just love driving the trucks. You know, out bush. You know, actually doing something where I'm not just in an office doing paperwork. I'm actually out there. I feel like my job is important. Yeah, with especially, you know, transporting the army guys around in the back, and yeah.
Now, you have swapped between a couple of roles in the reserves. We did have a question in here about whether you could change roles once in the reserves. So if you're in it and perhaps didn't like it, can you swap over to another job within reserves?
You certainly can. So I've swapped 3 ECNs now, so 3 corps I've transferred in the last 20 years. It just depends also, some corps you do need to go sit through testing again.
and
availability, definitely.
That is probably most important, isn't it?
Yeah. So you definitely can transfer within the Army Reserves.
Fantastic. Now, Misty, you're an Army officer, which is definitely a priority job at the moment. And we actually spent some time talking to you earlier on today, a bit more in depth about the Army officer role and that job in the reserves compared to civilian life. So let's have a look. So I'm here with Misty. Misty, what is your job in the Army Reserves?
So I'm training officer cadet in the Australian Army.
And what does employment training for an officer in the reserves involve?
It's 5 training blocks, and that starts off with your basic training, which is recruit course at Kapooka. There's training block 2. Well, I did mine at Singleton, and that is the lead up to section commander, which is done at training block 3. I did that one at Holsworthy. Then training block 4 is your lead up to platoon commander, which is assessed at training block 5, and that's done at RMC or Mildura.
Okay, and why did you choose Army officer over perhaps soldier in the reserves?
I basically, it led into being an Army officer. I initially was a soldier in the Australian Defence Force, and I did my Kapooka training at Kapooka in 1998. From there, so I did a number of years serving, and then I became inactive and had my 3 kids, and so became active again, went back through selection and was selected for officer training, and from there have just flowed into doing my training. So I'm nearly finished. I'm up to training block 5, which is my next one.
And training block 5 takes you to RMC, or the Royal Military College.
Yeah.
So what kind of skills can you take from there into the civilian world?
There's a number of skills, and you become very strong in all of them, but what I see as the top sort of 3 is your leadership skills, definitely. Very good communication skills that are developed along your training blocks, and also then the ability to make quick decisions and problem solving. So in my civilian career, I'm a child safety officer, and a lot of times that we're put into positions that are quite hard, and so the quick decisions and the problem solving skills that I've utilised from my officer training or even my defence training in my civilian life is excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. How does course selection work?
With course selection, we select 3 of our top preferences, and then throughout our training, basically sort of your skills are highlighted. At the end of your training, at training block 5, you're given your core. It's dependent on what's available, and then obviously what your course selection has been, and the priorities that you've got there.
Sure. And what corps are you looking at?
Yeah, so I'm looking at infantry.
And why is that?
It's what is based here. There are a number of units based here, but what I've been part of for a long time, which was 3142. Initially back when I first started, it was 42nd Battalion, and so I want to be a platoon commander in that unit. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Misty.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for getting your questions through to us. We have had some really good questions today from the public for you guys, for Army Reserves. Now we have just a few more that we can ask, so if you've got any last questions, make sure you get them through. Now, Scuzz asked, what are some of the vehicles you drive for as a driver in the reserve compared to full-time? So it looks like on the website the list is smaller. So do you get the same opportunity as a full-time driver?
You do. There's just sometimes they're not in our local unit,
Okay. So there are different vehicles in
there
different
are
locations.
different. Yeah. So obviously full timer, you're going to get access to every vehicle. Where in Reservist in Rocky here, we get access to the Unimog, the Land Rovers. Then there's the big Mack trucks, so the big semi-trailers, PMV. So we're slowly starting to add these to the reserve list now that we're starting to get them. So the Army is bringing in new vehicles, the man truck, so that's taking over the Unimog.
Okay.
So they'll have more licenses.
Yeah.
So when they start filtering through the reserve units, that's when we can actually get access to driving those trucks. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Now Max asked, why do the chin straps look so unnecessarily uncomfortable?
Well, I guess they
First of all, are they uncomfortable?
not really. Particularly. But I guess just the way we wear it, like we do with the buckle on the left side, and off the mouth and eye, is just from the tradition. That's how it's always been worn. That's how the Anzacs wore it, and that's just the tradition we've carried on. So yeah.
It's just the standard of dress.
Yeah, standard
of dress.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Dave asked, can you be offered deployment if you prove consistently high results in your role?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, well, Alice and I have deployed and you're just about to deploy. So within your career, there's always that opportunity, particularly if you're keen to do it. So yeah, and you have the choice too. So which is really good as a reserve soldier.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that would come back to what we were discussing earlier with the whole merit-based system. Yep. I guess the harder you try and the more you put in, the more you're going to get out of it.
Yeah, that's it.
Absolutely.
Jared asked, would you finish an apprenticeship before joining the reserves or do both?
We could do both.
Yeah,
absolutely. So there's nothing stopping you having your apprenticeship and then being a reserve soldier as well. I think they'd complement one another too. So definitely opportunity to make more money as well. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I guess it would be a little bit like studying at the same time, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
And you guys have no issues with it?
No, of course not.
No difficulties at all. Just a bit of homework every now and then.
Yeah, why not?
Now, Madeline asked, can you please confirm the process of getting in? So I presume that's the recruiting process.
Yeah. So with the recruiting process, so obviously ring up, do your paperwork, complete your U session, and then do your interview, and then from there I think it's a medical and your psych.
Correct.
Interview, and then from there you do your enlistment and passing that on to basic training.
But if you have any doubt with that, just refer back to the website.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There are a few steps involved, including a U session and an assessment session, but all of these details can be found online, and it doesn't help to have a look at that info or give 131901 a call. They can give you some info as well. So Nathan asked, how difficult is an in-service transfer from reserves to full-time, particularly infantry?
Well, I can't say I've tried to do that, but from what I know, infantry is a priority role right now, as all of our roles
in the
are.
reserves.
In the reserves, it's a priority role. But in full-time, it's currently a longer waiting list. So if you are going to transfer, it can still be a lengthy process doing that.
In saying that, it's just filling out some forms and then obviously waiting for that process to happen as well.
So should the role be available?
Should the role be available.
Not super tricky?
No, it's not. No, especially you've already gone through the process of getting into the Army Reserves, and if you're a qualified soldier, it's just a bit of paperwork to fill out, and then it's just waiting for that position to come up for you to transfer over.
So it entirely just depends what full-time jobs are available at the time. As we said, infantry soldier is a priority role at the moment for reserves, but you would need to check your local area in regards to full-time. Lisa asked, can you join part-time and work in admin without having to go away and train? It looks like she has extensive HR and admin experience. However, she also has a FIFO hubby, so she needs to be around most of the time for mum duties.
Unfortunately not. It is, admin course is a two-week block, so it's in modules. So as soon as you finish your recruit course, you can go down to Bandiana is where the clerk's courses are held. So as soon as you finish your first module, your first clerk's course, you can work back at your local depot as a clerk. And then you can take some time if you need to do your second course. So you still need to go away, but they are very flexible, especially if you've got some home life worries there.
I suppose I've got a partner that works away on his drive in, drive out, and if you've got someone there that can actually support, like a grandma or someone that can come in and actually stay with the kids, makes it easier for your partner. And then you can still go away and do your training as well. So I
think you actually did that, didn't you, when you came through?
Yeah, so if you've got those supportive people that can come in and be there, then sometimes that can make that work as well. So there is opportunity to go away.
For 5 weeks for training?
No, two 2-week blocks, so it's 4 weeks.
Yeah.
4 weeks all up.
Okay. Yeah. So we've got 5 minutes left, guys, so if you've got any last questions, get them through. We will ask just a few more. Madeline asked, do you have to move around or can you stay in the barracks or base in your state or area?
No, it's you don't have to move around. so you can stay at your local unit for your entire military career. But it is flexible, so if you do happen to move away, so if you move towns and there is a local unit there, you can transfer to that unit and parade with them.
Okay, fantastic. Now, Stephen asked, he has a family, so do you get paid while you're at Kapooka?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, paid to
paid to
train,
train,
which is
don't
really
you?
good. Yeah, and you're not spending money necessarily down
Absolutely.
there, which is excellent because you obviously all your food, accommodation, everything's provided. So while you're training there, it doesn't cost you much at all.
Okay. So I have a question here from Nathan in regards to in-service transfer. Now, we talked about reserves to full-time. Reserves to reserves, it depends on what's available in your particular area. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. So
Core transferring. in
is that
reserves?
core
Yeah.
transfer?
Correct,
Or-
yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. If the jobs are available in your region, you can transfer over, and it just depends if you do need extra testing. So if your general entry aptitude test, if that does not cover the role that you want to go for, you just need to sit in another exam. But other than that, you can do it.
Fantastic. Now, we are very close to wrapping up, guys. Let's have a quick talk about experience. So let's have a talk about something you might have experienced within the reserves that you just absolutely would not get in the civilian world.
Yeah, so I suppose that the helicopters. Yeah, so when we've had some exercise here at Shellwater, we were lucky enough to just get some chopper rides just because they needed to to do it. So I know Al and I experienced that a couple of times a few years ago, which was really good. And that's not day-to-day sort of stuff.
Absolutely
so,
not.
Yeah, and particularly when there's no side on it and you're sort of sitting there with a seatbelt. So yeah, that was a bit different.
Yeah, absolutely.
For myself, I guess just all the different weapon systems that you have available as an infantry soldier, that you get qualified on, that you just get to use on a regular basis throughout the year. That's probably just the best thing as well, and just the opportunity to be able to deploy by volunteering yourself and actually being able to go. So yeah.
Well, you won't get many opportunities to go and do what you're about to do
Yeah,
with the
that's
Navy,
right.
would you?
No.
What about you, Alison? Apart from Hawaii.
Hawaii, I think Hawaii was pretty on top.
High
of,
point?
Yeah. Just some of the stuff we did over there was fantastic. Got to walk along lava fields and see the lava spew out into the ocean at night time. You know,
Wow.
It was one of the career highlights for me. Yeah.
That's so great. Jess has asked, is it difficult to leave the reserves if you decide it's not for you?
No, certainly not. It's just a bit of paperwork, just a resignation form basically, and that's as simple as it is.
And it's different as opposed to full-time because you don't have an initial minimum period of service, so you're able to resign at any point in time.
And so the initial minimum period of service when you enlist full-time, so that's a 4-year block or a
Yes.
6-year block.
Yes.
That's right.
And you come through reserves and there's no commitment like that.
No.
So beyond that training, it's all up to you, isn't it?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
in saying that, I think too, you got to give it a go. And sometimes it mightn't feel the best, but I know it took me about 4 years to actually feel like it's like nearly doing an apprenticeship in itself. So basically, to walk in and feel really confident where you're at and that sort of thing, and know what you're doing. So it takes a bit of time.
I think one of the best things I guess I experience when I speak to personnel like yourself, everyone talks about the mateship and the friends that you make in service.
Absolutely. So I think particularly when you've been around each other for a long, it's like a second family, and the fact that you know each other and you know what to expect from each other, and you can, they're really good mates that you actually get from being in reserves.
Being able to work in that team environment, whether you're going through good or bad experiences, when you're doing it together, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, definitely. When you're stuck out bush with them for weeks on end, and then you come back, and you've got all these wonderful stories that you can sit down and share and have a laugh. It's just fantastic.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with us today, guys. That's it for our Q&A today. Thank you for getting your questions through to us. If we have any questions that we haven't answered, we will get to them in the next couple of days. So again, these are priority roles. So if you are interested, jump online, have a look at them, submit an application. And otherwise, we will see you at the next Q&A. Thank you.